Hey Stencil fans, I am so glad that you joined us today. I cannot wait to share what we're doing. We have got a tone-on-tone buffalo check on the background, and we have got the most wonderful time of the year, of course. Could be winter, it could be Christmas. And then we've done some little textured snow. I can't wait to show you how I do that. It's something I love to do, and I've done it for years. And some layered stencil detail. So you're gonna learn so much, and let's get started. All right, stencil fans, here we go. Today I'm going to teach you some things that you probably haven't seen before, so I think you will be excited to learn some new tricks for your toolbox. All right, today I want to base coat this board so we can get it drying, so I'm going to show you about offset palette knives, which we've talked about before, but mixing paint. A lot of questions come in. Our paints, by the way, there are affiliate links in here, but our paints come in giant containers, and we put them in these little honey jars. When you're mixing paint, you want to take your light color paint and you want to put it out, and then you want to put your dark into it secondary. You don't want to start with your dark. So I'm going to sneak in some dark, and then I'll mix that. And the offset palette knife helps because it keeps your fingers out of your paint, especially if you have other puddles of paint right here. So what I'm looking for is I'm going to put my black out here so you can see. I want there to be such a small variation in these two colors that you can't kind of almost tell what I'm doing in the background, because when I have this in the background, you almost can't tell there's buffalo check back there. So I want that subtlety. I don't want it to be so obvious and so contrasty, because I don't think that that's going to be as pretty and it won't look as modern. So I'm going to look for something that is like 1 or 2 steps away from my color. Now I will bring this black into there because I know from painting this sample, I know that it took a lot of black in that gray to make it dark enough to do the thing. Okay, so I'm just gonna mix that up. And it's just very much like shoving, I don't know, like scrambling eggs in a way. You're just shoving stuff from side to side until it looks how you want it to. You don't wanna see a bunch of streaks in there and stuff like that. I always take my palette knife, and if you don't want them to rust out, don't leave them in the water, because these are made in China. We don't use everything made in China, but a lot of our tools come from China. So there's nothing I can do about that, because that's where you can get affordable stuff. I'm gonna take my poly brush, and I'm going to, these are super dense, so they stand very well on their toe. That means I can get some resistance when I'm brushing, which means it's gonna spread really well. Other poly brushes the wood ends at the base right here, and there's nothing supporting it, and this one is supporting it. So, and I'll tear apart one of these brushes in another video in the future. It's kind of fun to do. So I'm going to just brush with big long strokes, and I like to angle my board, and I like to give it so that I can get my arm out here, like a big V kind of thing. It's like a posture thing. But it's important because it makes it easy. If you're doing this, it's really hard to get a spread, and then you run into your body and you're doing all kinds of weird things. So this is way faster, way easier. And then I'll scoop it to the edge and just feather it off of the edge. Big long strokes. Now, I will tell you something that I have done here. I'm going to make as many mistakes as possible on this video, because there's a couple things that I can do to show you how to fix things, and I want you to know that. So one thing that I did is I didn't mix enough paint. If I don't mix enough paint, then I have to match the paint. And one thing that we can do is we've got these wonderful little containers. We've got a couple different ounce levels of them, but you can mix maybe too much, and you can put some in your paint or in one of these, and in your jar, and you can keep your sample of it while you're painting the project. So say I make a big mistake and I have to go backwards a step and I want to patch over it. If I don't have a little bit saved back, then I'm going to have to match it and make it feathered And that's hard for me to do. And I've been doing this for 30 years. So that is a big deal. You want to make sure that you save a little back if you're not confident. I'd say probably a confidence thing. If you know what you're doing with mixing paints, then go for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm pouncing down at the end right here. I'm just going ahead and I'm kind of pushing. If I scoop off my edge, it's going to make a big old drizzly puddle right there. So I push right there at the edge and then I spread, okay? So, and then I smear it out. Big long strokes make much better base coating. And I'm gonna have exactly enough paint to get this done. Phew. However, something you really do wanna pay attention to, mix more than you think you're gonna need. And I'm on, I don't know if you can tell or not, but I'm on this black craft mat. This is a giant silicone craft mat. This is an amazing piece of equipment because it's big. So I can have my big signboard on there and it will clean up. We just spray it with a little bit of this Zep product. It's just a cleaner degreaser. It's the thing I picked up at one of the big box stores and I tried it and I liked it and I haven't tried anything else. So if you guys have other things that you like, let me know. But these mats are really, really amazing. We have, I think, 5 of them now. We have them in every room. Okay, I'm gonna put my sponge brush in the water and press on it to get it to sink. And then we're gonna let that dry and I'm gonna tell you about our drawings and our prizes. Okay, are you excited? Who wants to win? Tell us in the chat that you want to win. I'm gonna start with our grand prize. We have a grand prize, which is a shopping spree on our website. The way that you can enter to win on the shopping spree is you can go into, you can share something that you've stenciled. It doesn't have to be our stencil. So you can share anything that you've stenciled, post it on our Facebook page, and then if you want, then you'll get a point. I've got to remember all the rules. You'll get a point for everyone. You can do 5 for everyone that you've shared, and then if you do them with the ones that are our stencils, then you double your points. Okay, so that's our grand prize, and it's a $30 shopping spree on our website, StudioR12.com. And then we have our lives if you're catching us on YouTube, you wanna make sure that you come back around and see us on Facebook because we do the lives on Facebook. So we have prizes at noon for the noon showing, and then we have prizes for the 9 o'clock recast. In both of these, we answer your questions live. So we have people that are answering your questions and helping you figure out like anything that is confusing about stenciling and stuff like that. So for the noon, we have 3 stencils and that will go to 1 lucky winner. You get the prizes by liking, sharing, and commenting. And for the evening, we have these 2 stencils. So very, very awesome prizes. So make sure you like, share, and comment. And while we're starting, tell us where you're from. That's my favorite because I love to see where everybody's at. I am an Army brat and I have lived everywhere. Like 40 places in the world I have lived. So I have affinity for all the places. All right, this didn't quite talk itself dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and blow dry. Blow drying is a really good way to move through your project and get it done like a lot faster. I like to blow dry on hot heat. And you notice that you'll see me doing that when I'm rubbing on the piece with my hand. It is a good way for me to just tell at what level of dryness I'm at. I don't know why I do it. I do know that I hold my hand up a lot of times to block the air going to the thing that's sitting over here that's gonna blow off my table. You can tell that I've painted in a small craft room for a really long time. So I know stuff's gonna blow. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this background texture, the background stencil technique, and I've got my used background stencil, and I want to show you how I'm storing this. Okay, so we have discovered these wonderful disc journal rings. This is a disc journal punch, and they allow you, so on stencil storage, this is a really big problem, right? So, and I'd love to hear if you have ways to store your stencils that we haven't thought of yet. I would love to hear that, so please share that in the chat. So we can take our stencils and we can punch little holes and then just take them out, use them, lay them back in, push them down, and they are super duper duper durable. Like, I mean, it stays in that book. And so I can put, I've got a very big background stencil, buffalo plaid. I can put my other one in the book so that I have both sizes. This is such a good way to store your stencils. I'm going to evenly put that in there, punch it down. It's super easy. Put that away. There will be a link down below for our affiliate links. That's not something that we carry here, but I can just pop that right on in there. And then I have it stored. And I love having these in different books because I have background words in a book. So this is like, you know, French poem, this Easter, Frankenstein, spring, all the things, but they stack really well. So I could put these on a shelf. I won't put them on a shelf, but I'll put them on my table. And you can see that they stack really well, and you can color code them. They come in all colors and sizes. So I can be like, these are my tool stencils, this is my word stencils, this is my background stencils. Makes it super easy. Okay, so it goes away. And then I'm gonna pull out my smaller plaid stencil. And then I don't know if you guys can see on the wall behind me. I really love this disc journal stencil storage. On the wall behind me, we have right down here, we have the, this is a curtain rod or a, I think it's a curtain rod. Anyway, but it's a wire storage, and you put little clips, and let me grab. So these little clippy poos, and they're all tangled up. Let me find a single one. There we go. So they're just little clips, and you can just store them right on there and then put it on the wire. So that is also another way that you can store your stencils. And that really works well. If you have like a spare room that you're crafting in and stuff like that, you can store them like in a closet space on an upper rung and then put shelves underneath or whatever. It's a really, really nice way to store your stencils. Okay, let's get back to painting. Make sure you're like, sharing, and commenting. And please, as we get going, share with us your favorite techniques that you're learning. Got a little piece of goober right there. All right, in this case, I am going to use the outside of my pattern stencil. This stencil is bigger than, or littler than this board, and my stencil fits it, and I decided to make it be a frame. So I left it just the gray, and I'm gonna show you how I treat the bottom. So that's one of the things about our videos that I think I love the best, is I'm gonna share with you how to do the pro tips, if you will. Okay, so I'm gonna move our grand prize. Don't forget to share what you've been stenciling. It is such a great thing to do because you are sharing with other people who are stencilers as well, and they're stencil fans, and there's a lot of tricks. So let me get some tape. I got big stretchy tape today. But when you share about your techniques and stuff, then you are helping other people. And it's just like a little stencil fan community. So I'm gonna get that centered. I'm going with my glasses. Get it centered. And then we'll just go there. And I'm gonna tape in 2 spots. If you tape in only 1 spot, then your stencil moves around. Okay, so gonna get a dome brush. The dome brushes, you guys know the drill with this. Those of you who have these dome brushes and you know that they're the best. The number one stencil complaint is people say they don't lay down flat and you can't get, paint goes underneath. It's because you're putting too much paint on at one time, and it's because your device, if you're using one of these to paint, it's just gonna sponge the stuff underneath. So you don't wanna use one of these. And I can't get that back in my jar. This is a dome stencil brush, and they're perfect for stenciling. So normal stencil brushes are flat, and they shove the paint. When you push on it, it shoves the paint underneath your stencil. This is domed, and when I push on this, you can see it doesn't splay under. So that is a really, really important point. Okay, so we're gonna take our black, because we're doing that tone-on-tone special background. Pick that up. I use a dry brush, I use dry paint, and I use a dry paper towel. Okay, I'm gonna pick up just a little bit of our paint, and I'm gonna swirl off on the paper towel. About 15 times, 10 times, something like that. If you're really a scant picker-upper, you could probably do 5 or 6 times, but if you're a generous picker-upper, you wanna do a few more times. Okay, so we're gonna go over here, and I'm going to start with swirling, and I'm gonna hold down the edge, because this stencil with all these little lines and stuff, sometimes they can shift and you can grab them and stuff. You wanna be a little bit more careful. Anything that has a lot of straight lines, make sure that you're minding that, okay? So I'm gonna go over here, hold down my edge, and I'm gonna swirl. And then we'll methodically, on this project over here that I did, and I did the prep for this. Sometimes I don't do the prep for the boards, but when I was doing this, I missed like 2 rows in the middle. So super important that you mind and go methodically over something like this that has a very rowy outline. Okay, so then when I go on these little lines, pick up some more paint, I want to go with the line. I don't want to go against the line because that will move it around. All right, so now we're talking about Christmas. We're Christmas in July. We're doing that kind of thing. Tell me what your favorite Christmas traditions are. Like mine is when I decorate the tree and I just kind of get all weepy and cryy and stuff like that. I love to see all the family ornaments passed down and all that kind of stuff. And then we always have chopped down our own Christmas tree. We always go out and send the little kid with the saw, you know, underneath to get the thing. So tell us in the chat what your traditions are. Do you bake? Oh, those are baking stencils. Ooh, just realized that. So I said, hey, here's a cute little stencil. These are really cute. It's a marshmallow world in the winter. I'm supposed to read these. Baking sweet memories. And we whisk you a Merry Christmas. Is that not the best? I love that. Oh my goodness, I didn't even realize. Didn't even share. Good golly, Miss Molly. All right, so now I'll just continue methodically. And then I want to show you a tool that we came up with. And now, so a lot of our pattern stencils, our background pattern stencils, have a narrow, I think it's a 1/2 inch band around. Well, that punch that we have comes in quite a ways into my banding. If I'm really close to this and I scumble off, I'm gonna get the pattern from my punch. So this is our multi-masking tool, and we are going to lay it down and make sure that I don't get any stuff on the outside edges. Okay, and I can come down here and do the next one. This is where I get in trouble, okay? This is exactly where I get in trouble. I start here and then I realize I might want to go here because I have my banding tool here, so I'll come down here and drop down, and then I'll be like, oh, I'll just keep going. So I need to make my pattern go down and move my way over just so I'm being methodical, and that is exactly how I missed 2 whole rows. So learn from me, like I'm always a goofy goober. Okay, so I'll go back in a row. And something else that I noticed when I was doing this project is when I was redoing the color so I could get it a little bit darker, I started everything at the same point, And that is something that will be a problem later because if you start everything here, this one's going to be darker than everything else. Okay, so we'll go over here. I'll move down. This goes pretty darn fast. I want to get to where I repeat the pattern and then I'm going to stop doing this so it's not just boring. If you guys have questions about this though, we have very experienced painters answering questions. I can't multitask, so you don't want me doing both things at once or this would be 5 hours long. Okay, so get there. If you are curious about the Buffalo Plaid, Buffalo Plaid, by the way, works perfectly for spring, summer, winter, fall, every single season. It is beautiful for everything. So I'm going to mask right here with my MultiMasker. One day we were painting and I had to mask something and I picked up a little bit of a stencil and realized the paint flows on it just like it does on our stencils. And that was magic. And so we made this. This will actually, these have like organic bits where you can take a leaf shape or a little flower petal. This has worked for everything. It even has like detail stuff so that you can actually put polka dots on things or checks and check borders, spiky leaves, that kind of stuff. And it has measuring tools as well. It's got a little bit of everything. It is a really great tool. Okay, so we'll just keep going down. Then we will ask some more questions. You guys ask us questions. But tell us what your favorite Christmas movie is. Mine is hands down White Christmas. It is just such a great movie. I just love the fun of it. And I think it has that little bit of military to it, so I'm an Army brat. I've even been in the Air Force. My husband's Air Force, so we totally have the whole military background going on. And I'm curious how many of you have that. It is a different lifestyle, isn't it? I think that's one of the things I love so much about like our stencil fan community that we have going on, is it feels a lot like that, that military thing. Like where you have friends and family that are so close and they understand what you're doing. So you understand about paint, you understand about the tools, you understand about all of the things that are about stenciling. Okay, so we're down to the bottom. I'm going to show you how to move this and match it and what I did to make that bottom frame work out because it doesn't measure quite right. Okay, so we're going to finish that. I'm going to lay my brush over to the side so I don't waste a brush. If you don't have a lot of paint brushes, the stencil brushes are magic. They're really hard for us to get. We have sent away for kajillions of them, and I think they're coming, so that should be something that we don't fight as much, and we're learning how popular they are, and we will figure this out. Let me dry that. If you don't dry your board before you move your stencil, okay, I see right here, I've got ridges of like maybe a little bit too generous paint right in here. And if you move it before those are dry, you might run the risk of sliding that paint down and smearing. And that's when you would need, the spare paint in the background. However, we do have other tricks that you can do because we have the click eraser that will erase things as well. Okay, let me get that dry. Okay, so we will slide this down. We have to match this pattern to this pattern. And I'm gonna get that matched. And somebody didn't do a really good job of being very straight. I'm just gonna point that out. I am walking all over the place. So if I'm walking, so if I did that, you know, like you got astigmatism, that kind of thing. If you did that, like I just did, and it's starting to like creep, then what you can do is we're not going to put paint over this one, but we want the next one to be approximately right. I'm going to fudge it, get the bottom right, and then I'm going to straighten it out and know that there's a lot of things going on right about there. So I can fudge over and I can fake it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with that. Gotta pay attention when you're laying this stuff. Ooh, hi. You guys know me. You've seen enough. If you haven't seen enough, go to YouTube. We have so many videos. I will always make some sort of goofy mistake that has something to do with measuring. That is my least bestest skill. Okay, so get it. Keep sliding. Okay, get that under. Now I've got to take care of this bottom. At least that I recognized while I was getting ready for the project. I'm going to take a piece of tape off. And I'm going to guesstimate a 1/2 inch. In this case, I'm just guesstimating because it was easier when I did this with the little bit smaller tape. I'm going to have to make a line. Let's make a line. So using big tape, I'm not going to be able to guesstimate how much I'm covering because this is covering the board and I can't do that. So let me get out a T-square. So I'm going to take my T-square and I'm going to take my triple thread Ghost Rider. This is a tool that has a white lead, a gray lead, and a roller ball. So you can trace. And now I am going to put my brush in water because I didn't finish that statement earlier, but I will come back to it. Now that I'm going to talk it dry, I want to put that in water so I don't ruin it. So I'm going to go to the white lead, and I'm going to measure my 1/2 inch. And, oh, and make sure that you start at the 0. Okay, I'm going to go to my 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to lay it across. And I am going to make my line, super light line. This also has an eraser on the back side, and it is a magic tool. This, the white will erase, the white and the black will erase with water, spit, eraser, all the things. So it is a really, really wonderful tool. Now I can take my tape. I should just take this off. I'm being silly. So we can see what we're doing. Okay, now I can take my tape and I can just lay it across that bottom, go from side to side, and lay it down there. Don't press too hard. This is fresh paint, so you can run the risk of your paint lifting. Okay, T-squares, super valuable tool. All right, so we are going to straighten this stencil out. And then tape it down. So now when we go into our brush with our black, we're not going to do the row that we laid it over to do the layout on. Don't do that. So we'll go on the row before and we'll pick it up there. Okay, so that's how you match. And our stencils are really good about that matching thing, so you can totally do you can do walls with them, you can do floors with them, you can do all of that. They line up, including all of our pattern stencils and stuff like that. We take really big pride in that. We don't want to scunch over this other paint, so I'm going to use that to mask this other row because that will make one part of this darker than the other and that won't look pretty. You may not be able to see it on this project, but you would be able to see it on something if you were doing something a little bit lighter or more open. This is really tone on tone. So you just scumble and we're going to finish it all the way down to the bottom. I'm not going to bore you and waste your time now that I've showed you the tricks and stuff like that, but I am going to show you the next board. Okay, sit. Ta-da! It's like a baking show. All right, so we have our board and it's all laid out. And I was being silly earlier. Because we did 2 rows, I've got a very definitive little bit of ridges on here. I put my sanding things away. Normally I'm all about 60 grit sandpaper And today I'm going to use the 100 grit because it's super light. I just want to knock that back. I don't think texture on painting is always necessarily the best thing. So I'll just knock that back. That's much better. I'm not trying to make anything distressed. I'm just trying to get the texture off of it, okay? So we're gonna center our stencil, and it is the width of my, mark it there and there. It's the width of my board, but not the length. And I did that for a reason. The reason is, so if I wanted this kind of snowy texture up there, and I wanted these big snowflakes up there. So if I didn't have any room in this fit exactly, then I wouldn't have room to do that. And that's really important. And there's some super big secrets I'm going to tell you about doing this tone-on-tone stenciling in just a second. So stay with us. Make sure that you're sharing, and commenting. We love comments. We read every stinking one of them, everyone. And we adore them, and they give us such insight. They help us, give you products that you like. It's a really big deal for us, so we really, really do care. All right, I'm gonna shake my paint. Always make sure your paint is shook up. If your paint is on your palette and it's super watery looking, don't use it. Shake your paint, put some more out. Okay. We're in white. So we're using just 3 colors, but we mixed one of them. So don't be afraid to mix, but make sure that your colors are all getting along before you start. You don't have to use the exact thing to make it be pretty. You could use a warm gray instead of this cool gray, and you could make very beautiful product doing this. So don't feel like you have to have an exact color to paint. It's sometimes easier, and I do get that, and I do get that, but I think that we rely too much on needing exactly the same. One thing that I did, I was starting to do this, I started to do this with just swirling. If you don't know what swirling is, stay tuned and I'll show you. Where this was gonna be super soft, and then this would be bold, and then that would be swirled as well. And I didn't like it, so I changed my mind and just went ahead and stippled it. So we're gonna pick up our paint. And I'm gonna go ahead and swirl because I think the first coat swirling is a good idea. I did not do very many swirls over here though. And I'm using super non-pushy, no pressure at all. Okay, how many of you are swirlers? Put it in the chat. Do you even know what swirling is? So swirling is this thing like this instead of up and down, which we call stippling. So I like the first coat to be swirled because that just kind of sort of seals the edges under just a little bit. When I did this project, I totally used too heavy a paint, and I did bleed under, and I want to show you what that would look like and how to fix that. So I'm going to I just did 3 swirls. I'm going to come down here. I think I'll show you how to finish the top part, although I do love the bottom part. I'll show you how to screw up the middle part, and then I'll show you the bottom part. So let me get that right, and then, whoops, not yet. All right, so what are some mistakes that you guys have made when you're stenciling and that you couldn't figure out? Like, what was the scariest thing that you ever did and it was terrible? Okay, so we'll get that swirled. And then I'm going to mess this one up. But let me get a second coat on both the top and the bottom so we can move on. I do want to take, once I get this on, I want to show you guys the background. We were talking about these brushes, and I told you I'd come back to that. If you don't have a lot of brushes, then maybe use a plastic bag over your brush so that, that you can continue to use it. Like I had to put the black brush, I've got a little fan going here, and black's gonna dry in my brush, the brush is gonna get ruined. You don't wanna be buying brushes over and over. These will last for 20 years if you treat them well. So don't feel like once you buy it that it's disposable. It really isn't. And even these poly foam brushes, these guys right here, these are magic brushes, and I can't believe I'm saying that about a foam brush. I have hated foam brushes for years, but this is a good foam brush. I didn't know there were good foam brushes. But if you treat your brushes right and wash them, and we have, if you go up to the, click the link up there or whatever, and we will put in our brush washing and our brush care video. Okay, so we have a lot of videos. Make sure you go to YouTube and subscribe. And then once you subscribe, then it will give you a notification if you ring the bell. It'll send you just like a link. Hey, you know, StudioR12 is doing a thing again. You know, do you want to watch? And you can be like, yeah. And because like, yeah. LOL, sometimes I crack myself up. Anyway, so, but if you ring the bell, then you subscribe and it'll send you a notification. And if you do this, you're going to want to be notified. You're going to want to know when we have new content up. Okay, if you get extra little bristles, sometimes the little extra bristles are there and, you know, they're just like a bad hair day. These are glued from this point, and they're like glommed in the glue, and they stuffed in the thing, and they trim the thing, and they do all that. But brush making is a really like quite handcrafted moment. And these, sometimes all the hairs don't get glued. So some are gonna fall out. Wait till they dry if they land in your paint, and then brush them off after. Don't take them off while your paint is drying or you'll move your paint. But just brush them away and they're fine. And if you ever have any problems with anything that we have, every now and again a handle, if you set them in water, we set them in water. Sometimes they stay in the water for days. Days and days and days. And this is glue, and sometimes that will soften, okay? And sometimes that will come off. But if this never comes off, but sometimes these come off. Little super glue, a little bit of wood glue, puts it right back together again. But if you feel like that's on us, send it back. We will take care of you. Always. Okay, last little bit. Now I'm going to show you how to mess up these letters, and then I'm going to show you how to fix the letters. So we're going to go over here. We're going to pick up our paint. We're going to totally be too generous with everything. I'm going to just go to town on this, and you can see already how heavy that is. Okay. That's what causes bleeding under. This is what the reason is. Okay, that is how you avoid it, is to go 15 times here and not 3. Okay, I'm being very serious. Okay, so go there. And I will put the brush in water. And I will take the stencil away. And you can see it's not horrible. It's not optimal. Okay, so we can go into our click eraser. Okay, our click eraser, it has a PVC eraser, and it's super office supply. We carry them on our website, whatever. We can get this paint off, and I guess like this one down here bothers me, and this over here bothers me. Probably the edge of the E. The D is not making me too mad. A little bit of sanding would take the D stuff away. But I'm gonna dip in water, okay? And I'm gonna go right on the edge right there, where I don't like that really heavy paint. And then I will, now my paint's not quite dry, so I'm probably rushing this. I should probably dry that first. But that took that away. If your paint is wet, you're just gonna smear it on your board, so the paint has to be dry. The great news about this technique is you have about 15 minutes before you can't fix it. So Stenciler's best friend is to get this eraser and make sure that you use it before your paint is dried 2 days. So I can come down here, go on this side, and just pick it off. So that is how you fix your stenciling when you have been a little too eager, a little too quick. So don't speed through. I would love for this to dry and me to show you what is on our back wall, because I am super excited about this. We have the best stencils, and we have the best stencil designers, and we have like I just love what we come up with. Okay, over here we have milk and cookies, and I've got some notes because it's way back there on the wall and the microphone is up here, so I have to kind of show you here. So that milk and cookie stencil is STCL2924. That is the SKU. So when you go on our website, you type in 2924 with the STCL, that just means stencil. And it has a chipped painted background, so you can look at the close-ups of this. It's distressed and it has drop shadows. So that is a way that you can paint in a really like red and white, fun, tone-on-tone kind of, you know, monochromatic seasonal colors. I love it. Okay, over next to it, we have the Merry Christmas tall porch sign. These are amazing because you can take them and you can go to your hardware store and you can ask them to go ahead and just cut your board to 6 feet tall, and the stencil is going to fit right on that. Okay, so that is STCL2014. That's going to be a 3-part stencil because our stencil material doesn't come in 6 feet, and it's reversible and it has the drop shadow built in. Okay, and then it stores like a dream. You would not think that, but you can put winter on the back side and you can have your Christmas on the other side, and then when the seasons change, you flip them around, and then when you store them, you're just going to put them in your hall closet, under your bed, you know, somewhere in a corner somewhere. They're tall, skinny, and they don't take up a lot of space, and they're amazing, and they really look good on porches. Our area, oh my goodness, everybody has a tall porch sign. Underneath of it is our snowflake pillow stencil. There's a video on that. There's a video on quite a few of these. You just need to go to the YouTube channel and look for Christmas and see it. Painting on pillows, this is a pillow cover from IKEA, and this is like a textured velveteen kind of texture, and this is just a snowflake stencil. So you could reverse that and paint on the back side if you wanted to put something else, but you can take this off, and this is one of those down pillow fills, so it's really high end, really feels good, you know, behind your back and stuff. But that is STCL163, and there's probably an underscore on that one, but go ahead and put that, look down in the comments below or in the description below, and that will have that in there, and you can just click on it. But there is a fabric painting video, and we show you the tricks. There are some serious tricks to painting on fabric. Okay, 2 more, and then we're back to our project. I hope that you guys are hanging on to the end because I'm going to show you that really cool snowflake technique, and I'm going to show you how to do that snow technique. Okay, sleigh rides, I think, yep, it's up here in the back. We have this wonderful wood surface. Do you see the edges of it? It is WDSF 1451, and it is like a fake old world chipped plank board kind of surface. And the stencil is sled rides, and it's STCL 5124. Obviously, these are all going to be down below. But it is painted with a stained, layered, and distressed technique, and it has a weathered board kind of look to it. I love the look of that. Oh, and this one's probably one of my favorites. I'm going to come on this side over here so you can see. Over here, this is fa la 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 la, right? And it's STCL 5846, and it's super modern, and it's just kind of minimalist, very traditional colors, but very modern. It would look so good in a farmhouse kind of setting. It has drop shadow, and that's about it. It's very simple. And I want to say, for all of these things, when you buy one of our stencils, say you want to make the fa la 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 because that's your favorite thing from when you were a kid or something like that. Don't forget that they're reusable and they're durable, and so you can use them over and over. So you can totally hit the mark for your house, maybe farmhouse style. You can then pick it up and go like, oh, I'm going to give this one to my mom and paint it in old-fashioned Christmas-timey mint green and red. You know, you can do so many things, but you can use them over and over. So think about friends and presents, because people are buying this stuff from stores, so why not give them a gift? And people are so hard to buy for, so if you know they love Christmas, give them a Christmas sign. I think it's brilliant. Okay, we're gonna do the very cool snowflake technique. I'm gonna get out my background stencil book of stencils here, and I'm going to find, and then I've got a little question for you guys. We, in the world of suppliers and supply chains, the entire world of 2020 and 2021 has been a train wreck for suppliers. Our suppliers sent us clear stencil material, okay? And then normally they're milky. I'm gonna pull this one off, so let me pull a cleaner or bigger one off so you can see it. Okay, so normally they're cloudy, so would you prefer clear to cloudy? I think it's super interesting. It's the same exact material. I don't know why one's cloudy and why one is clear. They've done something to the cloudy one, but they are literally the same material. They cut the same, they do the same, they stencil the same. We've tested them, we've done all the things. So if in the world of stencils, if it was equal, would you like clear or cloudy? That's an interesting question. All right, I'm gonna pop this guy back in here. Do you not love how quickly those just go right back in? And I love having them organized. When I was in my little studio, I had a pile, and then I had a pile of, I was using the adhesive on the back, and I couldn't get the adhesive off. And so then I had a pile of glue, and I ended up getting rid of a lot of stencils. So when you put adhesive on the back, it's difficult to get off, and it's not worth the effort for me. So just FYI. Okay, mystical, magical snowflakes. Here we go. So we're gonna go here. I'm gonna take this big snowflake and I'm gonna lay it off of my edge. I don't want it so much in my letters because that is going to be distracting. So I'm gonna try to lay it so it kind of goes around my letters, but is still interesting. Okay, I'm gonna take a little piece of tape. Give me one little plop of security here. Do my 15 times because I want this to be controlled. If I'm not doing the 15 times, I'm not controlled. I'm gonna hold the other side, hold that. I'm gonna go in the middle because that's gonna be dark. I want the darkness at the edge. Your darkness is gonna frame your edge, okay? So this is like a design tip. So I'm gonna go over here and get that just done. Now, as I get near my lettering, I want to go super soft and faded. So I'm not going to push at all. I want it to fade. Okay, so very gently, very soft, not strong. Same thing over here. I do need to reload. If I reload, do my 15 times, I'm going to start back on my dark because if I start over here, it's going to be dark. So I'll go back over here, and now I'll go soft. That's for dramatic emphasis. I hope you guys are enjoying this. Let us know what your favorite techniques are. There's so many techniques. There's so many techniques. I almost get up every morning just like excited to come share with you guys. It's just like, okay, what are we gonna show them today? It is so exciting. Okay, so I think that's faded. Let me take a peek. See what I like. Okay, I think I like it. Yeah, I think I do like it. So then I'm gonna take my stencil, I'm gonna move it around. So I might go, let's see, what did I do over here? And then I'll just lay it there and just do some misty snowflakes here and there. Did I use a different one? Nope, I used that one. So you just plop it down and then you just move that around. And that is why this is an embellishment stencil, okay? So now I'm gonna show you the snow. Make sure that you're like, sharing, and commenting. We're almost done. Pop that in water to keep it clean. Make sure you check out that how to clean your brushes video. It's amazing. And I show you all the things. This brush, anything that paints is a brush in my head. So I always call things like my hands and my fingers a brush. This has got like concrete in the brush. All right, so I'm gonna use this big sea sponge. There'll be a link below. Sea sponges are great. This is a really big one. I like the sea sponges bigger than smaller, but you can use your preference. And then sometimes you have to search for the right part of the, if I was doing a wall, I would use this great big part. If I was doing a tighter, smaller area, I would use this smaller part. So it's a little bit tighter there. I'm gonna go into my paint just a little bit, okay? And then I'm gonna come over here and I'm just going to tap all around to smear it around, okay? And then I'm going to go in the opposite corner of my other snowflakes. I'm gonna come down here and I'm barely touching. Okay, make sure you're like, sharing, and commenting. Make sure you share your pictures and inspire us. I have been so inspired by some of you guys' projects. Like, somebody posted one the other day and said that they didn't think it was good, and it was like great. It was amazing. You guys are too hard on yourselves. Okay, so we just barely touch, and we start heavy in the corner, and then we lift up on the edge and just kind of sprinkle it towards the edge. And I tend to dance. You'll notice when I'm doing this that I'm always doing every old which way. And when I get up more where I want to fade, I barely touch. And so that is how you get that wonderful snowy look. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this. I have enjoyed sharing, and I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. We do this live, and I enjoy sharing with you. See you later.
Hey there, it's Carrie at StudioR12 Stencils, and we hope that you love Christmas in July as much as we do. You're gonna wanna come back and join us all month long so you can see all of our new fun things that we have for you. We have new designs, new tutorials. We're gonna be sharing old tutorials so that you can just get a little bit extra inspiration for this Christmas season. And we have a ton of product photos showing you how to paint all of our new designs. Yes, we have more than 30 new Christmas designs for you guys this year over on StudioR12.com. Right now, you can find it under the Christmas 2021 collection tab, and we'll share the link for you as well, don't you worry. Here are a couple of our new designs. We have these vertical signs this year with some fun words that are all mixed up, and then we also have our gingerbread baking company signs, and this one's cool because you can get it personalized to say Mrs. Rawlinson or whatever your name is, kitchen, or you can have it say Mrs. Claus. So how fun is that? So we also have a really cool surprise for you. If you grab one of our new Christmas designs from our website and you stencil a project with them through the whole month of July, if you share one of those photos with us, you'll be entered to win a $50 shopping spree. Talk about a good early Christmas present. So you have the entire month of July to get one of our new stencil designs for Christmas 2021, share a photo, and then you could be the big winner. We will announce that winner in August. Don't worry, we'll keep reminding you. So we hope you'll come back and join us every Tuesday at 12 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern. Check out all of our fun Christmas designs and fun new upcoming Christmas tutorials.